All
Okay,
right.
well, I'm
All
ready
right.
when
We're
you are.
here. We're here. I'm gonna introduce us because
Kick us off.
kick us off. Look, I'm from Idaho.
Who the
I
hell?
I'm from I am the never mind.
How
What?
tired are you of that joke?
You know what? It didn't come out in this area. It took a long time for people to be like, Idaho, you to what? You to ho? I'm a ho. Yeah.
You know why? Because you guys are classy.
Or stupid. I don't know.
Stay classy, Idaho.
Yeah. Okay. So Deborah Criddle here with my buddy Mark Jones, and he's down in warm Texas. It is freaking cold in Idaho today.
Oh, I can only
No
imagine.
snow. Freaking
No?
cold. No.
Well, it's warm here. Not cold. I mean, but then again, cold here is totally different than up there.
Yeah. Yeah. So we obviously right during the holiday season. We're recording this. Christmas is just a couple of days ago. So we thought it would be a good idea to talk about credit card debt and what consumers are looking at credit card debt wise to make the holidays be what they've turned into, right?
Yeah,
We have to
absolutely.
spend money to be happy or something.
I guess that's the thing. For some odd reason, I think Americans just as soon as they turn 18 is this license to spend, even though you don't have it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and towards
Definitely.
the end, we can definitely get into tips and things of that nature on how to manage credit card debt. But I think the most daunting thing that is upon us is the uh, reaching $1 trillion in credit card debt just alone. That's not
Trillion.
mortgages. Yeah, that's with a
Tr-
T.
Trillion.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you brought this article up, and I can read it, but it just pretty much shows 25% of Americans still have holiday debt from last year. And we're talking 2022 pandemic outro. If you were in the hole, stop digging, says money experts. I mean, how easy would that be, right?
If you can't pay for it and it's going on a credit card, let's maybe pause for just a minute before we just get the shovel out and keep going deeper and deeper in debt.
Absolutely. Let me give some insight to this. So it says for some shoppers, the upcoming holiday season may lead to piling on more debt. About 25% of Americans still paying off holiday debt from 2022, according to Wallet Hub's November holiday shopping survey. But those already carrying a balance could find themselves sinking further into the red if they don't get a handle on their credit card debt. And as mentioned, if you're in the hole, stop digging, says Tom Roseman, Bankrate senior industry analyst. I don't know how these guys keep their job. Just that's another topic that we can come up with. um, like, thank
Uh,
you, genius.
but we like
Um,
Ted. We no offense, Ted. We like you, Ted.
we like you, Ted. um, one reason you may want to avoid racking up more debt is the higher interest rates are making it more expensive to pay down.
Do you know how
As
much
a
an interest rate is on a credit card?
um, tip, I think they finally reached like 28% again from what they put on restrictions and all that good stuff from COVID. So I'm going to say 28%. I don't know.
It's high. It's high. I had a
Yeah.
gal in my office 2 weeks ago, and her statement showed 31%.
Ooh,
Like,
we.
how do you get out of that? Like, you can't.
Now let's talk about something that I think is super, super funny. Is you mentioned it, I think, in the previous discussion, is when you're reviewing with a borrower their finances, you ask just to kid around or to even use as a combatant or something to overcome the objection of, oh, well, this rate's high. Well, what is the rate on your credit card? Most Americans don't even know what it is.
No.
It's like shameful spending, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I take advantage of credit cards.
Same
I
here.
I have no idea what the interest rate is because I pay it off every 2 weeks. Every paycheck comes, I
Amex.
pay it off,
Yeah.
and so I'm at my point, like, if you use credit cards wisely, so let me just tell you how awesome it was last year. I have everything on a credit card, and including, like, my car insurance and all that stuff goes on there. I flew a group of people to, uh, Hawaii and to Miami, and, like, my
Oh my
family
gosh.
flew all for free to all these places last week or last year because, well, 23, I guess we're still in this year, but in 2023 on credit card points. So there are perks to it, but it's when you just swipe it and forget you gotta pay it back.
Yeah, and I think, like, store cards, I've seen so many credit reports with store cards to get the 30%, but did they really do it for the 30% discount, or did they really do it so that they can continue to spend money that they don't have?
Yeah, yeah,
I believe we live in a world to where, um, people believe that the clothes that you're wearing in the car that you're driving mean more than the future that you're building towards.
yeah,
It's super sad.
yeah.
But these guys here, these geniuses over at Bankrate, have a couple of tips, and I want to run through them real quick to see if you agree with some of those things. Let's see here. We've got how to avoid piling on credit card debt during the holiday. Number one, make a list and check it twice. At least they're clever, right? Making
Yes,
making a list of
ma'am.
making a list of exactly what you want to purchase can be an effective way to keeping yourself and from overspending and adding to your debt, says Matt Schultz, Lending Tree's chief credit analyst. Again, how do these guys keep their jobs? Um, to me, in my opinion, well, let me go to number two. Put your credit card points to work. That's what you were just talking about. If you're
Yeah,
already accumulating credit card rewards, the holidays can be a great time to use those rewards.
yeah,
Instead, we use them on flights and hotels, which I do. That's what I do. And then number three, let your family and friends know if you're shopping with smaller holiday budget this year. It can be helpful to let the people in your circle know. I have to agree with that completely.
yeah.
As a matter of fact, I've got a mother that's in the mortgage business, a brother that's in the mortgage business, a father that's retired and thinks he's in the mortgage business. But this year, we said, "Hey guys, it's been slow all over." Group text to all the adults. Adults aren't buying adults gifts this year. We're just focusing on the kids. That's it. Everybody, yep, yep, thumbs up. All right. So I do think that there's nothing wrong with admitting that, hey, spending has gotten out of control, or I'm actually making a plan to get better. Um, you're not going to get what you got last year because I'm still paying for it.
Yeah. Well, and my big thing, and this is when we decided we were gonna talk about this, it was kind of hard for me to think, okay, well, because we don't do gifts in our house anymore.
Okay,
And
smart.
and and so the
Why?
art
Why is that? Why is that? I know my reason. If we were to do that, what is yours?
well,
Uh
back in the
huh.
day when my kids got just bombarded with crap, I realized they don't even know 2 years later what they got.
Mm-hmm.
And and I can't say that my kids were ever upset or even family members I got gifts for, they weren't upset because they didn't get what they wanted, it was just useless and such a it's like instant gratification that
Mm-hmm.
didn't last forever. So, after we kicked our last child out the door when he got married, we're all about experiences and stuff,
Yeah.
so we're going on a cruise next year, and it's all expense paid for my kids, that's their Christmas present, and
Very cool.
for 2023's, trip, we went to Supercross down in Phoenix,
Hmm.
and that was super fun. So, yes, there's gifts, but we have experiences at that point, and so I'm taking my credit card points, and I'm using those things to be able to take advantage of taking those kids out on experiences and teaching them those things, but even back in the day when they just got crap that it was just really hard for us to, like, "Oh, this one got 3 gifts and this one got 4." I just narrowed it down to 3. They had a nice gift that they had something that they could use, and then some sort of, churchy type thing that
Sure.
bring back religion into the Christmas season, but and it was so much
Because that
easier.
is what it's supposed to be about.
Yeah,
Hello.
yeah, yeah. So it was easy for me because we got him something pretty nice and then something that they just really needed, like a pair of pants or some socks or whatever, and then something that brings religion back in, and that just took all the pressure off. So if you can create guidelines for yourself of, all right, the whole theory of something use, something you read, something you something, something. There's come some cute little poem out there about narrowing it down to 4 gifts instead of just, "Well, that looks good, that looks good, that looks good, that looks good. Oh, well, Billy Bob has 5 and now Susie Q has 4. I gotta go get Susie Q 1 more." Like, that's what gets people in trouble, I think, is when they're trying to one up and even things out.
I agree. Well,
So,
I mean, my reasoning behind slowing down on the gift purchases, is truly the kids throughout the year get everything that they want anyway. I mean,
yeah.
let's be honest. If you're good, you're going to continue to get the things that a good kid gets. If you ask me for a car, I'm not going to get you a car. You know, you're too young type situation. We're not talking
Yeah.
outlandish things, but it's like we go the whole year rewarding them with things like you said, that end up forgotten, not even 2 years later. And then Christmas comes around and we've got to show off to the social media world what we got our kids or how many gifts are under our tree. And it's just become this thing that everybody is trying to keep up with the Joneses. To me, we're not trying to keep up. We're the Joneses.
I just wanna be like Mark when I grow up. I just wanna be Mark. Mark Jones, you heard of that Joneses guy? Yeah.
That's it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It bothers me. And then when you pull up, let me see if I can pull this up on the screen here because this chart is a trip. Maybe.
Okay, while
Yes, it
you're doing
did.
that, let me tell
Boom.
you something else we instigated, and I'm gonna challenge everybody to do this. So, 2 years ago, I took my kids and, it cost them $100 to go to dinner, or this year we went to lunch because Christmas felt like it did, and, whatever you order whatever it is, and every person has to bring $100. So, okay, think about, maybe I get a drink and I get my meal and maybe we get an appetizer and it's, 20 bucks. That extra $80 turns into that person's tip. So this year we did our $100 lunch and we ended up basically leaving an $800 tip. And it's interesting, my kids have just fallen in love with that. They wanna sit back and watch the expression on the waiter's face and wants to be a part of that, and that, man, that brings so much joy, and I think if you can kinda throw those little things in there, that's really what gifts matter when you're giving them to people who truly need them. And you can save $100 during the year, you can. Put
Yeah.
$10 a month into a little envelope, and by the end of the year, you've got $100 and go put a $100 dinner together with your family. Stop doing gifts. I think it'd go a long ways.
I think we could possibly start a movement, especially after people see this chart here.
Yeah.
This is the US credit card debt. It tops 1 trillion finally, as if it was something we were shooting for like a goal. Um, you
And
know,
this is credit cards. This does not have
this is
cars, RVs, four-wheelers, motorcycles, nothing. That is just credit cards.
you got
Ugh.
it. That is just credit card debt reaching a trillion, over a trillion. I mean, it's kind of snowball effect because at a certain point, people then open other cards to pay the other cards and balance transfer to do this, and then it's just going to snowball. And I have a feeling that this 1 trillion is going to rise super rapidly, and for some odd reason, I don't think it has all to do with high interest rates
Yeah.
or inflation. I think it has to do with habits that we as consumers, the layman, have adopted over the years. It's just sad, you know?
When did credit cards, like, I remember when I was younger, my parents never had credit cards, but we weren't really, we had what we needed. We didn't
Mhm.
have anything extra. We did nothing extra. Like,
Yeah,
every once in a while, we
growing
got
up,
to
my
order
dad had
Pizza Hut.
one credit card. What was that?
Oh, I said, every once in a while, we get to order Pizza Hut, every once in a while. But we didn't have credit cards, so, like, when did this credit card
No, we had layaway.
layaway? Yes, that's right. Let's help those people out here listening. Layaway was what, Mark? Tell us about layaway.
Well, I know layaway from it was Kmart where we would do most of our shopping, and when we saw something we'd like, our parents would pick up on it. They would then sneak over to the other counter and say, "Hey, put this on layaway. We're gonna make payments until we're done, and then we'll come and get it."
Yeah, let's
Basically,
bring that back.
without credit card.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. We had Shopko, and Shopko is a big layaway one here too, but credit cards really on your chart, it goes back, what, 20 years? It
Yeah,
just got out of control about within a 20-year window of time.
correct. Correct.
Mm,
And again,
Y2K,
I think it maybe Y2K, maybe uh, ease of access,
gotta have it now.
not enough repercussions for the actions that are taken.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, you've got every credit card company putting more credit card offers in your face when you're already in credit card debt.
yeah,
So
yeah.
they make it too easy. I don't know how regulated they are, if they even are, um, but I know that they make tons and tons of profit on interest.
Yeah, it's always one of those things that that I've thought about with bankruptcies. People walk away from a lot of their debt with
Mhm.
bankruptcies, but credit card companies still lend money, so there's gotta be enough interest made to offset what they're getting in those bankruptcy write-offs that because they don't have any collateral, it's completely unsecured.
Right.
It's definitely one of those things that you think, when is the regulation gonna come in that you really do have to prove you make $300,000 a year to be able to have that $25,000 credit card? Because I have a credit card. I've
Yeah.
never produced any documents to show how much I owe or, how much I make.
Hmm.
So, how do they verify that?
How do they verify? No,
I
you're
don't know.
exactly correct.
I don't know
Eh,
because they don't have my bank account information. I didn't give them W-2s. I didn't sign anything saying they could connect to the IRS to find out what my income is. I just told them I made $300,000 a year. So,
right.
how
And
many
and
people are doing that?
we're talking about, like, different areas. For example, when I started in the mortgage business, I started doing loans for folks coming from California to Texas, and that's when I was like, "Oh my god, how did they let you have a $50,000 credit card limit?" Like, "What the heck? You work at Sprint or AT&T or whatever the case." I don't know if it has to do with your region, where you live. I'd be curious to know if that plays a factor, just simply because I've seen people in California with more credit card debt than ever before. I wonder if I can find that. If I can, I will post a link to it in the description of this video,
Yeah,
which would be like credit based on states. Um, I mean, you can easily look at the different credit scores. And if there's lower credit scores, then you're probably going to have higher revolving accounts. But I'm curious to know what it the heck it looks like
yeah,
all around the country.
how do
You
they
know?
establish that? Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Well, and there's gotta be a little bit of truth to that. You've got, like, car insurance companies and things like that, that they won't insure in certain states because they're more risky. Maybe they have that same kinda algorithm with credit cards is
true.
we only lend this much money in this area because they trend more risky or something. I don't know.
Maybe.
Could there be that much logic in the credit card world? I
I
don't.
doubt it. I doubt it, highly doubt it. Maybe it was somebody from bankrate.com that put it together.
Bankrate, Teddy, Ted's
So
brother.
you've got this other article here. Let's throw this guy on here. Holidays are here, so record credit card debt. We already know how 6 Americans are coping. Do you want to sum up one of these situations here?
Yeah,
Americans facing credit card debts, a burden the nation's collecting credit card stands at a record $1.08 trillion dollars as of September. Interest hit 21%. That's the average interest. So I'm sure there's some above it. And now the holidays are here, Thanksgiving ushering in the season of giving and spending, la, 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 la. I would love to see how much we spent this year in Christmas season versus last year. I don't think that the tabulation is in yet, but that maybe that's another something that I'll put on there. But there's 6 stories. You want to sum up one of these?
well, it's interesting because the one that stuck out to me the most was the one that we already kinda talked about, and it was
Okay.
and you guys who were watching this, Mark will post a link here because you really should read this because there is probably something that parallels what you're going through or thinking about, and it will just help you to kind of like relate to them. Think, okay, this is what I wanted to do, but I didn't know if I dared, or this is what I wanted to do, but if there's repercussions. But the one is it's called Mommy is Santa Claus. And
Mommy is Santa Claus. Let's
it's
see.
down just a little bit further. And it's the one that she requires herself to pay in cash and she's using the layaway system. So she creates basically a little bit of a system to help her pay towards it rather than um, just throw it on a credit card. And then she pays extra. Anytime she has to put something on her credit card, she pays extra. It's actually, when you read all six of these, there's the basics the same, but there's just a little bit of a twist on each one of them, and it's just really cool how six different people interpreted how they can handle holiday spending, credit cards, getting themselves out of debt. What can they do to be better? How can they combat this in the future? Picking up extra jobs. How many people are picking up DoorDash right now to just
Oh
have
my
a little
goodness.
extra
Yeah,
money?
absolutely.
And I don't know how big your area is, but we had a gal who moved here from Denver, and her whole income base was DoorDash.
Ooh,
She made like $50,000 in DoorDash, and she was so disappointed when she moved here because we don't have that kind
as
of.
much. Yeah.
Yeah, we just
I mean,
don't
and
have
at the
it.
same time, what does that say about us Americans if you can make that much
Oh.
money running errands for people, just picking up stuff, you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
Is
but
that
put us back into the refi boom. I
yeah,
I basically hired my 16 and 17-year-old son, he was about 17 at the time. I basically hired him to he would drive 25 minutes from my house to my office to go mail a letter for me because I couldn't even get out of the office to go mail a letter.
I believe
So,
that.
I have a little compassion for people who just wanna pay people 5 bucks to do things because for a year, that's I'm like, "I just need this deposit made. I just need this mail taken to the post office 2
But
minutes away."
the sad thing is it's not $5 anymore.
No.
And
No.
I'm seeing it used it's just like another it's secondhand nature now since COVID took place. It's like, let's just order food. Oh, well, I don't have time to pick it up. Let's just DoorDash it or Uber Eats it. We have a favor app as well. Uh, man, it's I don't know. It has a lot to do with the habits that we are adopting as consumers without the education of what the repercussions are. Why? They don't teach it in school.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you turn 18, you get a credit card with the free t-shirt that says college on it,
Yeah.
and you're off to the races.
Yeah, you're right, and if you really think about meals these days, you even go to what used to be more cheap,
Mhm.
McDonald's and Jack in the Box, those kind of big franchises, they used to be a lot cheaper than they are
Right.
now, but with inflation and all their costs going up, they're higher. You're 15, $20 per meal
Yeah,
by the time you pay your tips and you do all of that. It's going on a credit card, kids. That
that's
I mean,
right.
it's not taking very much time to rack up $100, and
Now,
it's
I will say that I am not a proponent of using a credit card. I am against using a credit card for things, for like things, especially things that you don't need. It used to be an emergency type thing, then it became a points type thing, and then the other one is a leverage type thing. And what I mean by that is growing up, I couldn't Dave Ramsey my way here. I didn't have the funds to get to where I am, so I leveraged the credit card for businesses, leveraged the credit card for marketing materials, but those marketing materials ended up turning into something that allowed me to pay that back and do it again. Um, but it was always something that I used as a tool, not as a means. Like that
yeah,
is the
yeah.
way that I pay for my things. Does that
Well,
make
and
sense?
yeah, absolutely, and I have my podcast that I have, it's Adulting Unafraid, and it's very premature, like, very, very brand new, and, but it's all basically to help 18-year-olds have a freaking clue what they're gonna do,
That's
and
pretty cool.
and what I advised them was, "You have a credit card, I don't care how many times you swipe it, but you need to realize that once you swipe that card, that money's out of your bank account." So say
Absolutely.
I have $1,000 credit limit, you can max that thing out, that's fine, but if you have $2,000 in your bank account, you really only have 1,000 because
Mhm.
1,000 of that's gonna pay off that credit card,
That's
and
right.
that's what I've instructed him to do. Credit cards are awesome if you can parallel it with your debit card slash bank account. Like,
Right.
okay, I did 50 bucks of gas in my car and I have 350 in my checking account. Well, no, you only have 300 now. And but you got the points using your credit
Right.
card. And that's what that whole podcast is about, is trying to line people up with just get credit savvy so that you understand the ramifications of getting out of control. 'Cause,
Absolutely.
I mean, it is so easy. Like, look back at your spending and you have well, maybe you haven't. Maybe you've been a perfect child your whole
I
life,
have
but
not. I have
okay,
not.
all right, good, good. But I'm sure you can think back to a couple of months that you look at your credit card statement and you're like, "What the heck? What the
Oh,
heck?
yeah.
How did that balance get there?"
I
And and
I
then
remember I remember when we, bought our last house, which would have been 4 years ago, and I had just spent a bunch on marketing materials. I had spent a bunch on all of our memberships and all the things that come through normally to run a business, etcetera. And at that time, I was with a company that they made me run everything through my credit card and then I'd get reimbursed. But we were going to furnish the whole house, brand new, everything. We went to whatever it's called. It doesn't matter. And I called the guy at Amex and I was like, hey, I think we've spent maybe 30 grand this month. We're going to pay it off at the end of the month. And, but I need to put another like 16 grand on it. Is that all right? And he said, actually, sir, you're at 40,000 and you can spend whatever you want as long as you pay it back. I was like, what is going on here? I
Oh,
had
that's awesome.
never in my life seen that much in 1 month. It just everything hit. Luckily, obviously, we paid that off that month, but it was one of those things, and we use it for points, obviously. But I think it gets out of control and people don't even realize it until it's done. It's
Yeah,
like an
yeah.
out of sight, out of mind. I'm just paying the minimum, 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 minimum. Then all of a sudden you try to charge that sucker and it doesn't go through and you go, wait a minute, I'm at my limit.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Yeah, I totally, totally agree with that. My Capital One card that I have, it's awesome because at the end of the year, it categorizes things,
Hmm.
and,
You have
people
the
have
venture
New Year's.
card.
Yeah,
We
yes.
used to
Oh,
have the venture card. Yep.
yes. But, every year, people have these New Year's resolution crap that they do, and I'm gonna get fit, and I'm gonna go to the gym. Oh, no, my whole plan is to look at how much I spend on my Capital One at the soda shops we have here, mixed sodas.
Yeah.
I gotta stop drinking so much pop. Yeah, because it's classified in there. Like, "Stop going out to dinner all the time and stop drinking all that pop, Deb. It'll
Yep.
save you a lot of money." So, yeah,
Absolutely.
if people will just categorize their stuff and look at it thinking, "Okay, alright, yeah, I could shave 5 grand a year out by just not eating out as much."
So, if we were to give some folks some tips out there, and it's tough to give tips without sounding like Dave Ramsey, in my opinion, I would say start paying off the highest interest credit cards first. Wouldn't you think?
Kind
But
of, but
but
think
then at
about
the
it.
same time, if you don't have the extra, what do you do?
Yeah, I see. I think depending on how many you've got, I think you knock out the little ones first,
So you can
and
feel accomplished. I've heard this logic too.
yeah,
Mhm.
because that's like and you look at it on a credit score side of things, the credit score is not smart enough to know if you owe 10,000 on a $10,000 card. All it knows is the percentages. So
Right.
if you owe $300 on a $300 high credit limit balance, that's hurting your scores. Get that $300 gone. You've paid one off. Cut that thing up. It's more of
Yep.
like probably a JCPenney or a Kohl's card when they're
Sure.
that small, but cut it up and be done with it, and then the next one's 1,000. Alright, well, then tackle that little guy, because I feel like your interest rate is anywhere probably from 18 to 31. I think anytime over 10, it just sucks. Just get
Yeah,
rid of anything you possibly can.
I
So maybe
agree.
your $1,000 one is 18% and your $2,000 is 31%. Just get rid of the little guy so that you can feel the accomplishment of that.
Yeah.
Or the
I
highest payment,
Or the
maybe the
highest
highest
payment.
payment.
Yeah. The highest
Yeah,
payment. And it's I don't know. It's gonna be tough getting out of this hole. Um, for those of you out there that are listening, watching this show, at least you know that you're not alone.
yeah. Yeah, $1.08 trillion dollars worth of people are in
Yeah.
that. But I wonder in that though, you do have a lot of people, you do have a lot of businesses that roll credit card balances a
Oh, for
lot.
sure. For sure.
So, not that that's a drop in the bucket of a $1.08 trillion number, but you still have businesses that are basically operating their businesses in paying it off every single month, but
Yeah, but we're talking consumer. This thing says
oh, that's
US
right.
consumer.
Yeah.
I pulled it back up just to make sure. I'm like, "Oh, shoot." Yeah, there's also the business side of things of that
Oh,
nature, but
yeah.
that it's turning into this monstrosity of, I mean, compile that with student loan debt.
Okay, so
It's
let's
like,
just try to piss off some people then.
okay,
If you're
it's
the
better to be
fool out
pissed
there
off than
with a
pissed
maxed
on.
out if you're the fool out there with a maxed out credit card, get your crap together and get it paid off. Like,
Yeah.
start selling things, go do DoorDash,
Mhm.
sell Tupperware for heck's sakes, who cares? But start doing something to
Yeah.
get rid of that because we all pay for that. At
And
some point,
the
it's
logic in it is you've already obtained whatever it is that you spent that money on. It's not like you're using your credit card to get to something to purchase. No, you already purchased it, you're using it, you probably forgot about it, it's broken, whatever the case may be. Just because you're not using it, it's broken, etc., doesn't mean you didn't spend the money.
yeah, yeah,
When I advise customers on the credit side of things to raise their score and paying off credit card, I always lead with, we're going to be paying off some things that you've already purchased. Like you already, you're not paying us, you're paying those things off that you've already bought. So you possess them already.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
It's tough.
it's sad, it's really sad. You know, I had a gal in my office just last week, and she's got so much credit card debt. The only way she's gonna get out is to sell her house, which is sad because
Hmm.
people who are in these 2s and 3s interest rates,
Yeah,
they don't they wanna turn them into an investment property and keep them, but they have to
correct.
have their equity out to clean up the mess that they created in credit card debt and whatever the story may be. I was stupid and I racked up a bunch of debt, or I really can't even survive because cost of living is through the roof.
Right.
Wherever you're at, there's still ways to save. Like, you can go to the grocery store and live on a pretty measly beans and rice type diet and
Absolutely,
survive.
it's about sacrifice. I would have to say the message of this thing and how to get over this is sacrifice. You've
Yeah.
got to learn to do that, and it's not something that you learn overnight, and nor is it something that's gonna be painless either.
Mhm. Mhm.
But is it worth it? Absolutely. Super tip, don't close any of the cards either because you'll be doing yourself a double negative or a negative on top of what you just accomplished. Like, "Yes, I paid it off. Now let me close it. Wait a minute, why'd my score go down?"
Yeah.
Because you shrunk
Yeah.
your history.
Yeah. Just cut it up so you don't use it or
So what do you
something.
say next week we talk about credit tips and credit challenges and things of that nature?
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. I have lots of things. I'll bring my soapbox. I'll bring a couple of
Yeah,
them.
good idea. Good idea.
Yeah.
Well, anything else you want to chat about on this incredibly surprising and scary, in my opinion, situation that the United States have found themselves in? You
No, I
know, it's
no.
sad that just said that, and then it made me think of, well, the US is in debt too,
Yeah.
minus the consumer debt. It's like they're continuing to bail each other out and borrow from here and then print more money. It's it's sad to say, but it's the American way.
It is, it is. Yeah, we've let debt dictate our life. You're 100% right when we have the situation of having certain things now define who we are.
Mhm.
And it needs to go back to just living within your means is the new cool thing. Just
Yeah.
just scale back, live within your means, in a home that is sufficient for your needs instead of that. You remember
Now,
when I took you for a ride and you made fun of my car?
I did not make fun of your car.
You were
I
surprised that
made
I
fun of her
drove
car. I'm just
you
kidding.
you you were surprised that I drove what? A Kia?
A Kia, yes. I
I
was
think you
very surprised.
did you
I
think I was gonna
wasn't
be driving a
surprised because of the
Lamborghini?
brand. No, I wasn't surprised because of the brand. I was surprised because on social media, I see, four-wheeling and BMX and all this stuff, and then she's like, "Ding, dee, dee, hello," in my little Kia.
Alright, alright.
That
I
was
was
the
thinking
only
I
reason.
I was thinking I was supposed to be in a Lamborghini or something. I
No, heck no.
Oh,
Back when I could afford a Lamborghini, I still wouldn't have bought one.
no, no, no. Just, I think that's our message that we have to leave everybody. If you're in credit card debt, whether it's out of choice or not out of choice. It doesn't really matter. Just
Yeah.
start somewhere. Just start somewhere.
Now, I do have a feeling, this is the last thing that I'll say. I do have a feeling that the millennial and the Gen X is not adding too much to this credit card debt, simply because if you look at their credit card or their credit scores, when I'm pulling credit, I see one, max two credit cards. Um, and I think the statistic is that they use their credit wisely because they saw what their parents went through in crises and whatnot.
Yeah.
So maybe good news on the horizon if the what is that, baby boomers and everybody else get their stuff together. I don't know.
They're gonna be dead soon. The baby
Well,
boomers
that's just the truth.
the baby boomers are in like, they're my parents' age, and
Yeah,
they're knocking on heaven's door, so then it's just gonna be absorbed by the United States government.
there you
What a
go.
good tangent for us to go off on this, podcast about.
Oh my gosh. Well, there are a couple of things that are certain in this world. Death and taxes are one of them.
Yeah. Yes. So true. So true.
We'll leave you with that.
Alright, have a good week.
Next week, we'll be talking about credit tips and challenges and how to overcome them.
Yep, love it.
See y'all later.